And if you're a business owner, you're trying to get somebody to give you $100,000, $200,000, and they ask you, well, how much does that product cost? How much profit are you making? What are your sales?
This is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, your media hub for all things Black entrepreneurship, politics, news, and events in Hampton Roads and beyond.
When I say black, y'all say Wall Street. Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street. When I say black, y'all say Wall Street. Black.
And now, here's your host, Blair Durham.
Greetings.
Welcome. It's the 93rd edition of Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham. I'm so excited. Our sponsors for today's show are Milestone Mental Health Agency, the COO team, as well as Apex Financial Group of Virginia. So today's show focuses on your business climb team. C is for CPA. It's actually an acronym that I borrowed from another CPA friend. Our guest today is Mr. James Young. He is the Vice President and Director of Tax and Accounting Services at CLP Financial Group Incorporated. Through the business, James and his team provide accounting, consulting, financial planning, and investment advisory services to the public. Very important work that he does. Incredible experience here, over 20 years experience in public accounting and working with financial institutions, serving on various boards, as well as, a number of certifications here in addition to the CPA. He's also received his Chartered Financial Analyst designation, his Certified Management Accountant designation, and he also serves as a notary public. Welcome, Mr. James. It's great to have you. How are you?
Hi, Blair. How you doing? Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have this conversation, especially because oftentimes we start businesses and we think we can just Google and get the information that we need. We might overlook some of the important pieces to that puzzle, right? Some of the important team members that we need to have in place, such as a CPA. So I'm excited to learn more about your background and the work that you're doing through CLP Financial. Why don't you take us in?
Blair, well, I've been here at CLP Financial since February. Like you said, I spent a couple decades elsewhere, great many years in accounting and finance. Here, we do a lot of taxes in the accounting side, but we also do consulting with businesses, and we also do audits. And I think you're right in pointing out that a lot of business owners, when we first start out in the business, we don't necessarily know everything. But one of the biggest challenges is because you get really excited and you might think that you've done a good job researching what your industry is. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't make sure they got all their bases covered, because the simple fact of the matter is you don't know what you don't know.
Correct.
And even me getting into the accounting industry when I started my own firm, my own CPA firm, there are things that I didn't know until I got deeper into the process. And unfortunately, sometimes you learn things the hard way. And I think in the current environment with this pandemic situation that we're going through the PPP process, I think a lot of people came across things that maybe they didn't think were important, but if they had an advisor in their corner, maybe they would have made different decisions. For instance, we see a lot of people weren't eligible for the PPP. They were eligible, but they couldn't get it because maybe they didn't use a bank account. They had a bank account, but they were using their personal account. Or maybe they didn't have the right paperwork. A lot of people were struggling for paperwork.
Yeah.
And they didn't necessarily have the right advisors to tell them, yes, this paperwork is important. And, we didn't know that the PPP was coming along. Nobody knew that. But you knew the advisors would have told you needed to have that paperwork filed.
Right. Let me ask you this. Speaking of paperwork, right, and definitely having walked a number of business owners through the PPP and the EIDL processes, you're absolutely right. Some of us were caught off guard. What are some of those documents, some of those statements that we need to have in place as business owners?
Well, thinking about the PPP specifically, but it applies to other situations as well. I mean, the first thing you have to have is that you have to have some way of proving that you even have a business. And so it's not necessary that every business go out and register as an LLC. That's not necessary. It may be preferable, it may be advisable depending on your circumstances, but you can certainly do business as an individual. But you want to have some way of identifying that you are doing business. And so those are, one, having a business bank account, so that way you can document all your income that came from your business.
Right.
It's all going to be in that bank account. The other is there's something called a DBA, doing business as. And so every person in Virginia who's doing business under a name other than their own is required to register that business name. Starting the beginning of this year, you have to register with the State Corporation Commission, but before that, you had to register with the clerk of the court in the city in which you were doing business. But a lot of people didn't know that. And it's a really simple process. It costs $10.
Oh, wow.
You can go online and do that. But you want to have some way of proving,
yes.
We
have a business bank account. We want to have our DBA in place. What else would you say?
Definitely you want to have a business license. A business license is required for most places. If you get caught doing business without a license, you're going to have some problems with the jurisdiction that you live in. But how do you tell the government or whatever funding source you're trying to go to, how do you tell them you're running a business, but yet you don't have a business license? And so what you're basically telling them is, I've been doing business, but I've been doing business illegally. And then they're like, well, prove that you've even been doing business. But then another one is really kind of overlooked a lot of times is you have to have your tax returns.
Got it.
There are some people who actually do business who don't file taxes. And so, I'm not trying to judge anybody, but we know who some of those people are.
Sure.
And that situation is more prevalent in some industries some industries more than others. A lot of times personal service or sole proprietor people, they're taking money, they're getting paid in cash. And, from their perspective, they don't feel like they're making a lot of money. And so they either assume on their own that they don't make enough money to file because, if you make under a certain amount, you don't have to file. But maybe they're spending everything that they have. And so then when it comes time to file, because they weren't proactive setting something up in advance, which an accountant can help you do, then they get to the end of the year and they get this big, huge tax bill. And they're afraid they can't pay the tax bill. So instead of dealing with it then, they'll just decide not to file. And so then you have multiple years when you haven't filed a tax return. And this applies to people trying to get the stimulus payment as well. You have multiple years, you have no tax returns. And then when you go to get some kind of funding, one of the requirements almost across the board is to prove that you had revenue and prove how much revenue you had. And usually the way that you do that is a tax return.
Got it. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, right? So these very basic things. And then I know there's some more nuanced things, too, in terms of some of the reporting functionality inside of QuickBooks that maybe business owners may not know how to generate. Are those some of the things that working with a firm such as CLP Financial would help out with as well?
Yeah, we definitely help people with accounting services. And so QuickBooks is just one software that's out there that helps you. It is the one that we use, and we are a reseller of QuickBooks.
Okay.
You come to us, and we'll sell it to you on behalf of QuickBooks. And we can also help you set it up. We can help train you how to use it. We can maintain it for you. And so your information would, come in, and then we can categorize and we can provide you with a monthly financial report. And that's good not only for when you need to get into some kind of lending program or get credit, but it's also good for you as an owner because how do you efficiently run your business if you don't know what your numbers are? I don't know if you watch shows like Shark Tank and The Profit and things like that.
Yeah.
One of the things they always ask you is, what are your numbers? And if you're a business owner, you're trying to get somebody to give you $100,000, $200,000, and they ask you, well, how much does that product cost? How much profit are you making? What are your sales? And you can't tell them. You just stigmatize yourself as a bad business person. And so that's definitely something that at CLP we can help you with. We have programs where we can be your bookkeeper for a monthly fee. Usually, we like to include some advisory services in that because what we specialize here at CLP is giving advice. And so being CPAs and financial advisors, the price you pay will include some time with us. So that way, if you have questions, you can call us up. And, one client of mine told me she really enjoyed the fact that she can call me and talk to me. She has my cell phone number. Not every client would have my cell phone number, right? But she has my cell phone number. She said she really appreciates that. She'll call me 10 o'clock at night, and I'll answer her question. So she may have some ideas, and I can give her answers real often. You can't get that from everyone because you can Google. Lots of us Google, but you don't always get the right answer from Google. You can talk to your friends, but your friends don't necessarily know. And sometimes friends and other people will give you an answer that, from the short-term perspective, it might sound good, but it may not be good.
Yeah.
Those are the people that tell you, no, you don't have to pay taxes. Just get paid in cash and you don't have to worry about it, right? And so we help you do it the right way, proactively.
Okay.
And so you're not a year, 2 years down the road trying to figure out what you did wrong.
If you just tuned in, this is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, talking with James Young, CPA. We're just having a conversation about the importance of having a CPA as a member of your team, and what that does for you as a business owner. You know, we're going to have a second segment, right? So I don't want to go into everything right now, but I'm just thinking about this piece. It's critical, right? Working side by side with someone who really understands what the numbers should look like, how they reflect upon you as a business owner. Do you all provide strategic planning services as well?
We do actually. If you, and let me tell you a story. It's kind of right in line with what you're asking about. I was out walking the other day, and I was coming up to an intersection, and my kids tell me I tell long stories, so if you need to dial me back, just let me know.
Okay. Now, we've probably got, I'll get a cue in a minute. I haven't gotten one yet, so we're good to go. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was coming up to an intersection, and that street, the cars that I was about to cross, the cars don't have to stop. And so I need to look both ways before I cross the street, right? That's just common sense, right?
Yeah.
And so I looked to the left. I looked to my left, and I saw a cat. And that cat was sitting on the street, and he was poised to run because he saw me coming. He's scared of me.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking in my mind, I don't want to scare the cat. Which way do I go? Should I stop? Should I go a little bit this way? What should I do? This whole process took like 5 to 10 seconds. But in the meantime, I'm still walking. And so I realized I walked out into the street without looking to the right. Because I was so focused on that cat, watching that cat. So I said, let me look. I really quit. I panicked. I turned my head to the right and to see if any cars were coming. There were no cars coming. So I wasn't about to get hit. But instead, there was a dog on the sidewalk to my right. And so while I'm sitting here spending all this time focused on the cat, there's a dog behind me watching both of us. And the dog, it wasn't a huge dog. I told my wife I was going to make it a huge dog when I told the story. It was really a medium-sized dog. Right?
Okay.
But the point is, I was so focused on the cat that I didn't see the dog at all. And it's the dog that could hurt me, right? And so the point that came to me when I was thinking about that is people in business, this really is business, you get so focused on the day-to-day stuff, the cats, right? You're worried about your customers. You're worried about paying your bills. You're worried about what your next product is going to be. You're worried about making whatever you do that day right, that you forget the big things.
Yeah.
The big threats. And it could be threats or opportunities. And it came to me that really that's what happened to us with the pandemic. Because if you think back January, February, nobody was thinking this. I mean, we saw news stories. There was something out there, but nobody really worried about it too much.
No, we were focused on the fact that 2020 is the best year ever, Yeah,
we didn't think that this pandemic, this dog, is behind us that's going to come and wipe us out. Again, the dog wasn't that big. The pandemic is really big. But that's business. And so as I was thinking about that, it reinforced to me that one of the things that we do try to do for people is we read and we study business. That's what CPAs do. That's one of the things that make us good advisors because we're always reading. It's just the kind of people that we are. And so we can help people if you come in and make an appointment, and you can call us up at our phone number. I'm going to do a shameless plug, 757.
That's what this is all about.
Okay, 757-366-5242. Call us up, make an appointment, and you can come in and you can talk to us, and we'll see if there's ways we can help each other. And one of those ways that we can help each other is we can help you with your planning. And so not only strategic planning where you come in and we can do what's called a SWOT analysis. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so we'll sit down with you. Now, this is not part of the free consultation, but we can sit down with you and review all the things that are going on with your business. And we can see well, these are the things you're good at. This is what your business does. This is what's important to your business. And then these are the opportunities that are out there in the world. Some of them you'll know about and we'll help you clarify. Some of them we might be able to bring to your attention. And then there are going to be the threats. When it comes to the threats, we'll help you come up with contingency planning. We can help you try to find ways to mitigate that, those threats, so that they do happen. Maybe you won't be as impacted by it. If there's an opportunity, we can help you come up with a plan. We will do business plans, right, to help you come up with a way that you can capitalize on those opportunities. And as it relates to the pandemic, a lot of people will say, well, nobody saw this coming. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter, that's not true. Society in general knew a pandemic was coming. We just didn't know when it was coming, and we didn't know what it was going to look like.
Right.
Just like when this is over, another one will come. But most of us didn't prepare. But at my last employer, which was Capital Group, I'm going to give them a shout out. We worked on a project about 15 years ago when, I don't know if people remember the swine flu, when swine flu was traveling through the world, and people thought that might be the pandemic. And so we thought about, well, what could we do to help mitigate that? And so most of their people work in the office. And so the plan we came up with was, well, we'll just give everybody laptops. And so over the couple of years, because it was too expensive to do all at once, but over a couple of years, everybody got laptops. And then we trained. And so there would actually be times when you would take one section of the company and just have them work from home. And so...
Wow, really reversed.
Yeah, they did. And so then when the pandemic came, all they did was pull the trigger on what was already happening. And that's what we can help our clients do. Yeah. Because smaller business people a lot of times don't do any of that planning. They're just very much caught on the cats. They're worried about the everyday thing, and they don't worry about the dogs.
Let me ask you this. We got 1 minute before we go to break. Okay. We're gonna come back on the other side of the show and have more of a conversation. But I want to ask you this before we go. There's some businesses that are going to be listening, and they're going to say, oh, I'm too small. I'm too small to need to talk to an accountant right now. Mm-hmm. Is there any such thing as too small when you're trying to get a business off the ground?
I would say no. And the reason being is because we do hourly consultations, for one. So if you just want to come in, make an appointment, come in, there'll be an hourly fee, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Right.
And so in that sense, you're not too small. Then there are other people when you start doing business where there are things that you may want to do or have us do for you, and maybe, we'll give you a price and you may feel like the price is not right. Like, I can't afford that. And in those cases, sometimes maybe you truly don't. Like, if you're not making any profit, then can you afford that? But I would say to have an advisor in your corner, it's an investment like any other. Mm-hmm. And so really what it comes down to is not whether or not the price is right, but really whether or not you think you're getting the value for that price.
Okay, James. We'll be back. I'm excited. Thanks so much for this first segment. I'm looking forward to digging a little deeper on the other side of the hour. And actually, when we come back from this break, it'll be time for #Money Talk. We'll talk in just a sec.
Excellence is being able to perform at a high level for a long period of time.
The next level success is just a step away. Stay tuned. Black Wall Street Today will be right back after a word from our underwriting sponsors.
Are you a 757 business owner? Do you desire to make new connections and grow your community involvement? Could you benefit from taking classes to sharpen your skills? Well, join Black Brand, Hampton Roads Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. Completing a membership application is simple. Just click onto our website at www.blackbrand.biz or download the app. We look forward to meeting and building with you soon. WHOV would like to thank Black Brand for its support of WHOV programming.
Since 1900, the New Journal and Guide has been a community tradition. As the nation's third oldest African-American newspaper, the New Journal and Guide continues to keep its readers informed and inspired week after week. Through news gathering and publishing, this voice still chronicles that no good cause shall lack a champion and evil shall not thrive unopposed. A true community standard with a freshness every week. the New Journal and Guide, headquartered in Norfolk, Virginia for more than 100 years. To subscribe, call 543-6531. The New Journal and Guide, a Hampton Roads community tradition. Call 543-6531. Online at thenewjournalandguide.com.
Can I have your attention for a moment? Listen.
And now, more Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham on Smooth 88.1 WHOV.
Welcome back. It's the 93rd edition of Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham. We are here with James Young, a CPA with CLP Financial Group. Welcome back, Mr. Young. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks. I enjoyed the break. I'm ready to go again.
Yeah, so we had a pretty good conversation starting out just in terms of the work you would do with businesses. I wanted to kind of key in and have a conversation now about nonprofits and their particular, I guess, sort of nuances and the ways in which you're able to assist them from this perspective of, an accountant.
Sure. That's an interesting area, too, because nonprofits are like businesses in the sense that they need to bring money in and then they spend money. And so they have stakeholders that they need to answer to, right, which is the core purpose of accounting, right, answering to your stakeholders. And so some nonprofits sometimes they need help with their bookkeeping. They need help with organizing how their accounting system works. And that's definitely something that we can do for them, help them do. We can help them in their planning. But then there's two other areas that nonprofits have a little bit different scenario than do businesses. One is regulatory issues. Okay. Regulatory issues for nonprofits can be very different than for businesses. Sometimes it's as simple as getting them sometimes at the most basic level to understand that they don't necessarily own that organization. They have to answer to other people.
Sure.
Businesses, if you make money or not make money, that's on the owner, as long as you're following the law. But for nonprofits, when you start a nonprofit, as soon as you file that paperwork, you become basically a trustee. Mm. And so now you have to answer to society and to the government for the actions that you take within that nonprofit. Mm. And so you have to make sure you know what the rules are. And we can help people understand those rules. As far as the rules are within the scope of accounting work, we can help them understand accounting and tax. But another area where nonprofits need some help that's a little bit different than businesses is when they need to raise money. Sometimes they need financial statements that maybe they're not prepared to provide. Because, if you start a nonprofit, you're passionate about what you do, and you may be an expert social worker, or you might be an expert youth counselor, but you're not necessarily adept at, doing financial statements, right? Sure. And so that's something we can help you provide financial statements. Because a lot of nonprofits, when they go to raise money, they don't even have financial statements at all. But then on top of that, some grantors, and sometimes if you're a part of a large organization, that national organization might require you to get an audit or a review of your financial statements. Now, an audit and a review means something very specific to the people in the accounting community. And sometimes people have trouble finding, the smaller organizations have trouble finding people that can do that for them. Audits and reviews can be expensive, especially audits. So the first thing you want to know is, do you really need to have one? So as an accountant, I can help you figure out when somebody says they want audited financial statements, do they really want audited financial statements or they want something else? That's the first step. Second step is finding someone who's qualified to do it. Because a lot of people don't know this outside the accounting community, but just being a CPA does not give you the legal right to do audits. In order to do audits, you have to have a CPA firm license.
Got it.
And so through the CPA firm that I run, here at CLP, we do have a firm license that we can use to provide audits to nonprofits, audits and reviews. So if you have the need for that, we want to be one of the people that you choose to present a proposal to you. A lot of smaller groups, and I've been involved on a few boards. I'm either a member of the board of directors, I'm treasurer of an organization, and then I'm also on the supervisory committee of ABNB, Federal Credit Union. And a lot of times when they need audits, they don't know who to go to. And so they just start, who do you know? Who do you know? And then they'll start picking accountants. And sometimes they pick accountants that they get from Google or somebody's recommended, and then they don't realize that that person doesn't have a license to do that review. Then the third issue that they have to deal with is just the financial aspect of it. We all know if you pick up the phone, you call a larger CPA firm, they do audits. We know that. But a lot of times the price that they're going to quote you is prohibitive because they have a lot, they have like regional offices. They might have offices here, have office in Charlotte, and they have a lot of overhead that they need to cover. And in addition to that, they don't necessarily, I don't want to say they don't care about you because they care about all their clients, but they're not necessarily motivated because when you're coming to them as a smaller nonprofit or even a smaller business and you're coming to them with a job that they might make, $3,000 to $5,000 on and they already have $20 million in revenue, then you're not going to be their first choice. And a lot of times the answer you get is, well, yeah, we do audits, but we're not interested in doing your job. Here at CLP Financial, we haven't gotten that big yet. And so
that's huge.
We're not, there's situations when something might not fit, and, because of different circumstances, we have to have the capacity to do it for one thing. Like we have to have enough people, right? We don't have 100 people working here. But then also, we're going to give you a price that fairly compensates us for what a skilled auditor will receive.
Right.
And so, again, like we talked about earlier with the small businesses, if you don't perceive the value in that, then you may not want to pursue it. But we're going to give you most likely a better price than that larger firm would. And, I just want to say here that we're a black-owned CPA firm, a black-owned financial advisory firm. I honestly don't know of any other black-owned firms in the Hampton Roads area. If there are some, I would love to hear people tell me who they are so I could talk to them, but I don't know who they are. But that being said, I'm not suggesting anybody do business with us just because we're a black-owned entity. But what I would like people to do is spread the news about what we do. And so that way when people have that opportunity where they're looking for someone to provide those services, we get on that list of people that they're talking to. And that way we can make our proposal. And we think once we make our proposal, once people meet us, then our history and our skill set and our professionalism will sell us.
Yeah.
And so I think there are people out there that need us because I've been involved in some of the searches, and I think we're a good fit for a lot of smaller nonprofits that are out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, this is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, talking with James Young, CPA, and Vice President with the CLP Financial Group Incorporated. Could you provide the office phone number as well?
Sure. The office phone number is 757-366-5242. It says 366-5242, and our website is clpfinancial.com.
Okay. And can you help businesses in any state or just here in the state of Virginia?
So it depends on what the help is going to be and what the service is.
Okay, so we'll keep it open then. We'll keep it open for phone
Yeah, we'll keep it open, yeah. There are some limitations, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I want to spend the balance of our time now talking about the accounting services that you provide to individuals and why those are important. I know you obviously do tax preparation, do some financial planning, some budgeting help. Can you talk through those services and how they work?
Sure. We help a lot of people with their taxes. We have several hundred tax clients that we do here. I was fully booked up through July. We have, and it's not just me either. We have another CPA here. Her name is James Adelic, and she's been here for 10 years, and she has like 30 years of experience. She's worked for the IRS. So she's an excellent resource for us and for our clients. And then we also, like every other tax practice, we have seasonal associates who come in just for tax season and help us out. And so altogether, we did hundreds of individual clients. And so we do individual tax returns, and we help people with tax resolution issues if they're not too complicated. With tax resolutions, it can get to a certain point where you may need to involve someone, and we would gladly refer you to someone who specializes just in those litigation-type issues with the IRS.
Yeah.
We really enjoy helping people who come in and maybe they're a couple years behind and they just need some help getting caught up. Just to put it out there, we usually run a special. We're still running it now, where if you're 50 or over and you're a first-time client, we'll do your tax return for $99.
Oh, wow.
Just our first time meeting you. And we have, we have a lot of people who are joint clients. They're financial services clients as well as they're our tax clients.
Okay.
So we're very well into helping those people.
Okay. Exciting. I'm glad to know you exist. I do know of another black CPA firm in Hampton Roads, but that's not really what this is about. We'll talk about that offline. Yeah.
Right, definitely.
Super excited. This has been great, James. What else do you want to share as we're kind of thinking about the current climate? What advice are you giving the business owners that you work with about these times?
Sure. I think this is actually interesting times. It's not great times because there's a lot of businesses and a lot of people that are hurting.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And so we can't lose sight of that, right?
Right.
So for one, I mean, we know that they still have stimulus programs out there. We know that they still have grant programs. I know Norfolk and Chesapeake have grant programs.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government still has some grant programs. I just helped a client last week with a grant that they're trying to get through Medicaid because they have a home health care business, and there's a grant that they're eligible to get. And so keep that in mind. There's still opportunities to get help in the short term. But also as we leave, that's just the first crisis, but as we leave this crisis, the other thing that's going on, that's particular to people in our community, is there are a lot of programs out there and a lot of renewed interest in helping or using the services of African-American businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so the main message I want to say to people is make sure that as these opportunities are out there, you're doing the things that you need to do to make sure you're prepared to take advantage of them.
For sure.
And so make sure you have your books straight. Make sure you have your business records straight. You're registered. You have your business license. You're registered with the SEC. Make sure you're doing the things that you need to do proactively. And so when that opportunity comes up to maybe do business with someone, that you're also able to take up that opportunity. There's the whole minority certification programs. We can help people with those as well. Work through those applications because there's going to be opportunities out there. And so our job as individuals and businesses is to make sure that when those opportunities present themselves, we've done what we need to do to make sure that we can take advantage of them. Because a lot of times when that opportunity comes, there's no time
to prepare.
To prepare. You have to be prepared before the opportunity comes.
Yeah.
Or you may lose that opportunity.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready is the way
I like that. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah. This has been great. I certainly look forward to having you back on the show. I think just a wealth of information that you provide as a resource person, and certainly, our community, we need this information. So I would that you would repeat your website and phone number once more.
Sure. The website is CLPFinancial.com, and the phone number is 757-366-5242.
Cool. And that's C as in cat, L as in Larry, P as in Paul, financial.com, right?
That's correct. That's right.
CLPFinancial.com, 757-366-5242. You do provide a complimentary consultation, that's right?
We do, yes. We do.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, I've got to make sure we can sync up our calendars for another talk. Hopefully, as the pandemic starts to wane, love to hear more about what you are advising your clients at that point. So, again, I want to thank you for your time today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Again, today's show is sponsored by Milestone Mental Health Agency, Apex Financial Group of Virginia, as well as the COO team. A special thank you to our guest, James Young, CPA with CLP Financial Group. That's CLPFinancial.com, 757-366-5242. And thank you all for tuning in to Black Wall Street today, where we're building minds, we're building connections, and we're forging the path ahead toward business success in the Black community. We'll talk next week.
Phenomenal. Stay with us online at Black Wall Street Today. Today on Facebook and Black Wall Street Today on Instagram. And then follow us on Twitter as well at BWS Today. We look forward to talking again next week. Have a wonderful week. I have said and I will continue to say that the most important priority for the Black community is the Black community, not a particular political party.
Phenomenal. Hey, yo, when I say black, you say Wall Street. Black Wall Street. When I say black, you say Wall Street. Black. When I say black, you say Wall Street. Black. When I say black, you say Wall Street. Black. Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street.
Phenomenal.